Hey everybody, I just wanted to record a quick video and I did, looks like just this morning got the new version of Figma, so we'll see if that confetti is a little too early. Yeah, I just want to compare. I still have a tab open in the old UI and then I have the new UI. So I wanted to compare and kind of give a reaction to first thoughts of it. So let's dive in. Usually when I create something new, right, I will start out with this top toolbar here. Pretty common for me. Many times I'm building a device or something, so I'll probably use one of the predefined frames. So that's pretty common. Over here, everything's moved down. So initially, I really hate this. I feel like the line of sight is what Figma kind of really took advantage of with this setup, where on a desktop, which usually I'm using Figma on a desktop or laptop, the top of the screen is a lot more prominent. That's why websites today have a toolbar across the top and mobile has it on the bottom. So I get what maybe they're trying to do here, that it's kind of like FigJam, but I think the context for FigJam is completely different. It's not UI design, it's brainstorming, and everything's really big and you can drag it up from the bottom, but they don't have layers. They don't have this level of complexity. It's not the same workflow. So I don't know if somebody kind of pushed for this as like a unification, like, hey, we'll just put it all together and we'll essentialize things and clean it up. But it's a little strange. Even this here, actions, this feels very FigJam with their kind of, they have a similar button here that does something very similar as well. Soon you'll find Figma AI right here. Okay. Assets. All right, so here's all my Ultra UI Pegasus design system assets. Commenting, text, pen, shape, frame. Commenting, text, shape, pen tool, square. Yeah, so you have that here. Only things that you're missing are the hand tool. I don't see that here. Is it here? Yeah, okay. That kind of makes sense. You're grouping that. Move, hand, scale. So that's still the K. I use that quite often when trying to proportionally scale things. Yeah, works the same. Works the same here. That's great. Go here. K, 0.5. Make it half the size. That works perfect. All right, let's see what else they have over here. So actions, yeah, they just flipped them around a bit, and that kind of makes sense. I like this being on the right side. Now they put dev mode here, which is interesting. I think it was sort of buried up here, dev mode. It's a design first tool, but I get that they want to expose it a little more centrally. So that's interesting. Oh, look at it, and then it gives you different tools. Okay, I'm seeing, I think, where they're trying to go with this. I still think floating across the top makes more sense than floating on the bottom, just because I don't look that low when I'm designing. So I think the top is more useful. Now up here we have create component, use as mask, mark as ready for dev. Those things, I'm gonna have to hunt and peck and discover where they are. Prototype mode. Okay, let's look at prototype mode on both these. Starting point, interaction, scroll behavior. Starting point, interaction, scroll behavior. Okay, pretty similar. Pretty similar. Not much has changed in prototype mode. In design mode, a lot of things have changed though. Specifically auto layout. So let me just do something right here that's like quite common. Save like an avatar. I'm just holding Shift and Option to make multiples. I'm going to select all of them with lasso tool, and then with Shift A for auto layout. And then, wow, this looks so much different. All right, let me just copy it and paste it over here. Yeah, here you have the layout direction. So the wrapping, vertical, horizontal. You have the gap between. And then you have the kind of horizontal and vertical padding. On this one, You have the direction wrap here. You have this, which is kind of more oblong. That's interesting. The gap. Okay, the padding hasn't changed. Clip contents moved down a bit from being up here to being inside auto layout. So that's sort of interesting. I don't know how to feel about that right now. Width and height as well as this like hug property. I do like how this is all organized, but I don't know if it's going to be slightly slower. So here we had hug fixed, and then width and height as two separate entities. They're kind of combining them, which is interesting here. And then XY, rotate 90 degrees, flip horizontal, flip vertical. Yeah, we didn't have that here. We had rotation, corner radius, but we didn't have these shortcuts to rotate and flip. Over here, we have the constraints. If I click that, whoa, it's an accordion. Interesting. Okay, left, top, pinning, all of that, it's very similar. If I were to take this and go center, center, cool. Yeah, that's interesting. The individual padding, did that go away? No, it's still here. Okay. More auto layout, so that's like switching the direction of the canvas stacking. So it switches if you have, like if I put -20, and then let's make these different colors just for fun. Cool. I don't really mean this to be an auto layout tutorial here, but how would I flip these on this one? Auto layout. Okay, so I click the more dots. First on top, last on top. You can see it switches there. Line baseline, that's not going to matter for this. Strokes excluded or included. Cool. All right, what else are we going to discover? So, okay. If we select an object, one thing I don't see is like masking and creating components. So if I want to create a component in the new UI, create component. Now if there are multiples, can I still have those other options? Create component. No, I can't create a component set. So how would I do that? Object, main component. Very strange. I'm sure these options are still here, but goodness gracious, y'all. I mean, like, if I have multiples, I select them both. Now I have options here. Create component, create multiple components, create component set. On this one, it's just create component. I can't create multiple components. Did they strip that away? It's probably buried somewhere. Ah, okay, here it is. Now, how the heck would you know it's under this more menu? Come on, Figma. You're changing a lot of things, and you're not really providing great guidance on where it all went. Here's also the masking options. So this little hard to tap button, as a systems designer, I'm a product designer too, but I create systems quite often and components. You're hiding all of this from me. That's really annoying. And some of this, it doesn't look like even has keyboard shortcuts. We have flatten, use this mask, but subtraction, intersection, all of this. Creating multiple components, there's no keyboard shortcut for that. You could probably set it up. And then here, okay, so I can get to it through there. What's this? Select matching layers. Okay, so that's that kind of smart detect multi-select. And then I can change the frame. Okay, all right. So if you're struggling as a systems designer or brand designer that does a lot of like logos and creates icons in Figma, this little more icon is where a lot of your essentials are hiding, for better or for worse. It'd be super nice if you could drag that out as a little toolbar, maybe add it to the bottom. And please please let this snap to the top or the left or the right, kind of like the iOS toolbar. Please, that would be so great. Just snap it up here and let people break out these really important two sets of features and turn that into an optional toolbar. Or create tabs on this and let it snap to the top. I think that would solve so many problems. Now, I haven't gotten into like the performance issues of having these separate panes, right? Now, these panes, I'm able to resize this, so that's great. The left one, the right one, I'm able to resize as well. That's really nice. Nice nod. I do like that feature quite a bit. And what else? So we have this interesting menu. So up here we have the system menu where we have all the drop downs, kind of like Photoshop, right? It's getting pretty big. But then the Figma icon, you know, these are more like local actions and selected actions. So we have, again, plugins here. We also have plugins over here. And we have plugins up here. So we have plugins now in 3 places. Maybe that's fine. I'm just pointing out that it's interesting, different. Now, initially I wanted to double click on this, but I can't. So that's kind of annoying. To rename or to name my file initially, I have to go to this menu to do that. So, yeah, that's, I guess, fine. Then assets, not a lot has changed here. This looks very similar. Updates, libraries. Libraries has been getting very slow for me. I don't know what that is all about. So that's, I guess, for presenting, like presentation mode, sort of like Google Slides. Minimize UI. Okay. Oh yeah, that's interesting. Say something. I don't want to comment. Oh, they changed it. Shift down slash. Okay. It used to be shift up slash, but now that's something different. Interesting. Okay. Go back to V. And what else do we think has changed? Spotlight me. Start a conversation. Oh, cool. Figma audio is still there. It's super buried, but this is honestly one of the most helpful tools in Figma. Is just chat inside your file. You don't have to spin up a Google Meet. It saves a lot of time. We use these a ton at different teams that I was on, including I introduced it to a couple of people over at Meta, and it's really nice to have a transcript as well. And you can just hop into a chat tool like Slack. Hey, do you want to talk real quick? I had a question. You can turn this on. You can speak, so you don't need a meeting. You don't need to be like camera ready, but it has incredible audio quality. So go check that out. It's really Spotlight me. Okay. What else? I'm curious where people pop up when they're inside your file. Preview. Preview. Okay. Preview mode. Yep, that still opens in a new tab. Okay. That's pretty similar. Yeah, this is sort of nice to be able to jump back in if you forget what the keyboard shortcut, I guess, is. Share, publish community, get embed code. Yeah. Yeah, this looks pretty solid. My main complaints are, don't put it this low. It's not in my line of sight. I would much prefer to be at the top. Let people drag this, and maybe you don't want it to be able to be put anywhere, but at least let it snap to the top. That'd be great. If it could snap to the left and right, okay, fine. But like at least snapping it to the top shouldn't be that hard. And then they can't kind of mess up the default UI. And then the other thing is it's really annoying for system designers and brand and icon folks to have these options buried. These are super primary for us. This is primarily a design tool. Please move this into its own optional toolbar, allow us to make tabs, or allow us to optionally like turn that into a toolbar that could sit maybe connected and like how there's a dash here. Just have another area where you have those options without having to click twice. That's kind of annoying. I think with those two things, I'd be fine with this update. It does look nice. It's clean. I like this resizability here. And I like some of the logical groupings that they've got going on here. Makes a lot of sense. The order, especially when you shift into dev mode, that's super clean, right? Very unified. Those are my thoughts on the new version of Figma UI. Overall, with some slight changes, I think you could avoid a lot of that pushback. Generally rolling out new updates, it's nice to have small changes. And I think they could have kind of done these separated toolbars and maybe not drop this to the bottom automatically, but kind of introduced maybe 2 or 3 changes so they wouldn't get a lot of pushback all at once, do small iterations. But I know sometimes when you make a change, you're like, oh, there's other things that we've been waiting to do for a long time and putting off, and we just want to roll it all together. I understand why people are giving a lot of pushback, and I think with some minor changes, you could have the best of all worlds. So those are my thoughts. Figma, if you're watching, thanks for creating something new. Thanks for not kind of getting stuck in the rut. But I think being careful how AI is rolled out. If you could hook up your own design system and build from that versus like building something completely new, or building UIs by non-designers, as I said in my last couple of videos, I think that would be really helpful. Those would be 2 W's for Figma. Thanks everyone. I'll talk to you all later and have a great day.